You are swimming in a river and you find something that scared you to death or made you feel like you found a long-lost buried treasure. What an experience that could be. Even scarier is the fact that you wouldn't be the first person to do that. In fact, every year, a lot of strange things are taken out of rivers. So have that intriguing experience with us and watch out for the creepiest and weirdest things discovered in rivers on the unexpected. First is the cannons of the 18th century. There are a lot of interesting old things hidden in the murky water of the Detroit River. During their river fun, divers were able to find at least 6 different cannons that date back to the early 1700s. A story in the Detroit Free Press recently said this. The British soldiers of the War of 1812 hid these cannons as part of their treasure. They only put a few of their treasures at the bottom of the river, so it was hard for the divers to find them. They touched them to find them. Divers found a 6,000-pound weight in Detroit the same year. It was a steamship that carried 2,100 people. It went through the Great Lakes and was later found. It is also said to have vehicles from the time of Prohibition. Divers need permission from the government to explore them. Second is Dominica's boiling lake. One of the strangest things at Dominica's lakefront is the water that boils. By looking at the name, you can tell that the water in the lake is boiling. The whirlpool in the middle of the lake is very hot, and the temperature around the edges is between 160 and 190 degrees Fahrenheit. The lake was made when a volcano erupted, so it is very unstable and drains all the way out. The third is a palace on a lake. Maharaja Sawai Jai Singh II had the Jaj Mahal palace in Jaipur built for him. In the 1700s, it was built. The king decided to build a dam because there was a lot of severe and frequent drought in the area. This could make it easier for them to get water and end the drought. This whole area also had his palace in it, and his palace was also underwater. But luckily, the palace made it. It can still be visited, even though it has been abandoned and is thought to be haunted. It's like an iceberg in the river, and the floors are still completely underwater. Fourth on our list is a computer tower on the rivers of America. When people are rafting over them at Disneyland's Tom Sawyer Island, they drop their valuables over it. People throw not only gum and cell phones, but also big things into the river. Every year when the river is cleaned, 100 valuable things are found. The weirdest thing was that a worker at Disneyland once found a desktop computer tower while doing routine maintenance. In 2010, this was the news. Next is a 10-foot fish. The arapaima, also called the pirarucu, is one of the biggest fish in the world, but it doesn't live in the sea. It is 10 feet long, has scales that protect it, and eats meat. The arapaima lives in the Amazon River, and locals have been hunting and eating it for as long as they have. In 2009, people in Kuala Berang, Malaysia, said they saw a huge arapaima living and eating near them. It was said that the creature may have caused the deaths of 2 men, one who fell off his boat, and another who went into the water to save him. Sixth is the remains of NYC's East River Monster. Denise Ginley was walking along the East River in New York City in 2012 when she thought she saw something in the trash. When she got close to it, she saw that it was a strange, unrecognizable creature. The pictures were picked up by the media, which called the creature the East River Monster and started a debate about what it could be. The Parks Department called it a pig and took the body from the beach, but other people said it looked more like a giant rodent, a bloated and mutilated dog, or a sea turtle without a shell. Some people still think it's a mutant monster from the sewers of New York. Coming on next is the Tam Nessie. In April 2016, a video was taken of a strange creature swimming in the Tom River in London. The creature could not be identified. Scientists thought it might be a whale, a group of porpoises, or even a trick of the light, but in the end, they didn't know what it was. Some people say it's the Loch Ness Monster. Nessie taking a break. Aside from what ordinary people think, this strange creature remains a mystery. Eighth is a mysterious centuries-old ball and chain. In 2009, Steve Brooker and Rick Jones were walking along the Tom River in London looking for old junk. When they found what they thought was a cannonball, they pulled on it and saw that it was attached to a chain and leg cuff. Historians looked at the ball and chain more closely and found that it was made of high-quality iron. The ball and chain were from the 17th or 18th century, and someone who was in jail would have worn them. The leg iron was still locked when the ball and chain were found. Given how good it was unlikely that it was just thrown away. That leaves only 2 options. It was either cut off, or a prisoner was attached to it and thrown in. Ninth on our list is an entire Gallic ship. In the middle 1800s, Arthur Forgeus was a bit of a treasure hunter and sold old things. The Seine River in Paris was one of his favorite places to look for treasure. There, he found a lot of different things like jewelry and old things, but one thing they found was especially amazing. Near the tip of the Ile de la Cité in 1862, Forgeus found a whole Gallic ship. Given that the ship was from before Paris was even built, it was quite a find. Next is scuba diving spiders. In 2011, Australian scientist Roger Seymour was looking at the animals in ponds and rivers. When he looked at some river spiders, he saw that they could not only live underwater, but also make webs that held air pockets. This meant that these spiders spend almost all of their lives underwater, coming to the surface only to eat small creatures that live in the water. 11th on our list is the bronze head of a Roman emperor. In England in 1907, a young boy was playing near the Aldi River when he found a metal head. It turned out that the head was a bronzed head of a Roman emperor, and it is now in the British Museum. Historians think that the head was beaten with a stick, taken off of the rest of the statue it was part of, and damaged in other ways. Not only that, but there are no Roman towns nearby, so no one knows why or how it got there in the first place. Next is a complete Soviet tank. In Russia in 2016, a tank was found in the Don River. When it was pulled out, people saw that it was a World War II Soviet T-34 tank from the Stalingrad tractor factory that was still in good shape and had been there for more than 60 years. The weirdest thing is that there were no bodies inside, and the tank didn't look like it had been damaged at all. All the other tanks from this time were destroyed in battles with Germany, so this is the only one that is still whole. It was a surprise and exciting find, and it is now completely fixed up and kept safe. Another on our list is a fish from the Amazon that is said to have gone up a guy's pee hole. Even though his story has been questioned, a young man in Brazil really had to go to the bathroom in 1997 and chose to do so in the Amazon River. As he did this, a sharp pain shot through his penis, and he had to be rushed to the hospital. The doctors found that a fish called a candiru had actually swum up his urethra. This fish eats meat, so it chooses to eat the blood in the man's penis. 14th on our list is radiation waste. During the Cold War, the Hanford site, which is in Washington and near the Columbia River, was one of the most important places where nuclear weapons were made. The river water was used to cool the reactors, and much of the waste went into the Columbia River through contaminated groundwater. In the 1990s, radioactive waste was found in fish that locals were eating, and the waste itself was found 200 miles downstream, all the way to the Pacific Ocean's coast. These discoveries led to one of the biggest cleanup efforts in U.S. history, which is still going on today. 15th, we have thousands of bodies. Near the Tom River in London, officials find a new body about once a week. On average, 80 to 100 bodies are found in the Tom every year. Most of these are said to be suicides, but sometimes they aren't. Near the Tower Bridge in 2001, the body of a young boy was found. Body parts had been cut off, and tests showed that the man had been poisoned. The police found out that he had been killed as part of a ritual. A little more to make you scared? The person who did it has never been found, and the boy is thought to have been taken advantage of. Next on our list is surfing on Lake Superior. Lake surfing is one of the strangest things we would never have thought of, but this power comes from Lake Superior. When the time of year is right, the waves in some big lakes can make waves that are high enough to surf. This time of year only happens in the winter. The surfers can't go at this time of year because the water is between 0 and 5 degrees Celsius. The surfers need to put Vaseline on their bodies to keep them warm. Ice sticks to their wetsuits and facial hair because the water is rougher than the ocean. The 17th is the main crater lake, which has more lakes. This main crater lake is at Vulcan Point. This lake is on the island of Taal, which is in Lake Taal, which is on the island of Luzon. The Pacific Ocean is to the west of this island. The island in the middle is very small. If more lakes were added to this maze, the island in the middle would be as big as a cocoa puff. It's all a big crater from an active volcano. Moving on to next is emerald treasures. An amateur treasure hunter named Jay Miskovich found about 10,000 emeralds near the sea. It was thought to be worth around $500 million. The money was given to the hunter by the court. He killed himself because he was so upset. A few months later, it was kind of found out that it was all a fake. All of the emeralds were real and worth about $10,000, but it turned out that the hunter had bought them from a store and put them there himself. 19th, we have an alien spacecraft. In June 2011, a team of Swedish treasure hunters found an alien saucer over the Baltic Sea. It was underwater that was more than 250 feet deep. It looked like an alien saucer, which is why it was called the Baltic Sea Anomaly. It was 70 meters long and looked like steel. There are many ideas about what a strangely shaped object is. People say that it is part of the World War. It could be an anti-submarine gun or a Nazi base under the water. Its collectors sent samples of it to scientists to study. It was called the Baltic Sea Anomaly because it looked like an Ice Age glacial deposit. Lastly, we have Alexandria, an ancient city. Egypt is home to the city of Alexandria. It is a very old city. It was found under the water. It was still in great shape after being buried. For almost 1,600 years, it was buried. It was so big and in such good shape that it shocked the explorers. So this was all about the video. And if you liked today's video, then do check out more videos like this on our channel. Also, do subscribe to our channel and hit the like button for more updates. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.